Welcome to the first episode of VSWL 2012 Recaps from Reality TV Warriors. My name is Michael Halfstone, and joining me as always is the Canadian whose flaps keep blowing open in the middle of the podcast, Logan Saunders.
Good afternoon.
And the guy who has built a career in the gay circus, David Bindley.
Good morning.
Good morning. Did you expect that one?
No, but I am familiar with a big top.
This is strange, because it's the first time in like 4 months we've actually properly spoken to each other. This doesn't usually happen.
Yeah, it's been wonderful and peaceful.
It has.
I had a great summer.
Yeah.
Due to what I'm dubbing the season of WIDM fuckery. Yeah, we've had a very long gap from each other.
Which is good, because there is not a lot to talk about in this episode, so we're going to have to fill it with other stuff.
We are, and this one was always planned as the next one, and we were going to record it this year still, so that we have it in the bank. And then the rumours started coming out about Renaissamce maybe getting delayed, and maybe WIDM 26 getting delayed due to the Olympics, because apparently they take time off for the Olympics again. And yeah, Renaissamce we had planned to be basically airing as we're recording this now in September, and then they said no, 1st of November. And that's a problem, because I don't know about you guys, but I am away for like half of that season.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of planning a holiday for like the end of November. And I'm sort of having to reschedule because I made the mistake of checking out hotel prices in Perth in November, and it is very expensive.
Well, I think I'm pretty sure I've told Saunders this, but I don't think I've told you yet, Bindles. The reason that I am not available is because my brother has got a conference in Tokyo, so I'm tagging along.
Oh.
So I am, by the time that this comes out, I will have been and gone to Tokyo and maybe Osaka. Well, definitely Osaka and maybe
Kyoto.
and maybe Kyoto as well, because Saunders has been giving me recommendations.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's a shame you don't have more time in Japan, because you would have gotten a lot of recommendations from me for what to do.
We are there for over 2 weeks. It's just we've got to be back in Tokyo for the last 5 days of it, because there's a very nice hotel riding on it, which has already been booked because I nagged my brother a few days ago. He is currently in New York with work again, and I pestered him to do the Tokyo hotel last Friday so he wouldn't procrastinate further.
So how does it work for you with going on a trip with him? Do you, is anything covered for you?
Yeah, the hotel at the end. So he gets his flights, they pay for the hotel and he just picks one with 2 double beds instead of 1. And he found out today that he might actually be able to go business, which is really fucking annoying because the layover in Schiphol is not long, and I was sort of relying on us both being together so I could drag him through Schiphol. It's gonna be fun in November when that happens. We've had to break the Logan Saunders layover rule, unfortunately. It's a bit narrower than I would like.
What is it? Oh, was it less than 2 hours?
Yeah.
That is the Saunders rule.
Yeah, I would much prefer it if it was a bit of a longer layover, but I don't think you get much change out of an hour.
Good luck with Schiphol on that one.
Yeah, I've already briefed him, as soon as we get off the plane, we need to absolutely sprint. But it's KLM's problem if we don't catch it, because they told us we could make it, so.
Because it's still within the minimum connection time?
Yep, minimum connection time is 45 minutes.
See, even with the minimum connection time guarantee, there's just way too many things that could go wrong, even if it's all within the same airline.
Yeah, the other option was fly from Manchester at an ungodly hour. We're flying at
5 a.m.?
Yeah, the flight times are incredibly reasonable, both ways. It's about 2.5 hours on the way back regardless, as a layover. So yeah, we basically had that choice or fly at an ungodly hour, and I have to make sure my brother gets up for 3 o'clock in the morning, which is not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm too old to do the 3 a.m. wake-up call for flights anymore. I refuse to do that.
So yeah, it was basically that or just suck it up and cross everything that the plane's not delayed.
I will also be gone for early December as well.
Yeah, this is going to be hilarious fun for us because we are still going to have done, by the time you hear this, all of the usual stuff that we do for WIDM seasons. So you'll still get Suspect List and Weekly Suspicions, potentially, depending on our availability and the pool and all that nonsense. So yeah, that's going to be hilarious fun for me to sort out because, as we've already found out, they're probably not going to release the cast again until the premiere airs, just like Renaissamce, which was an arsehole.
And when do they premiere the new season?
1st of November.
Huh. That's weird. Weird timing.
Yeah, so basically I will be refreshing the WIDM website to get all the cast pictures and go, oh my god, they've brought them back. And then setting up the suspect list immediately is the plan. It's going to be hilarious fun for me.
So they'll probably have the finale on December 20th, would be my assumption. That would be 8 episodes.
Yeah, something like that. So, what have you guys been up to in the past few months?
Had I gone to Europe?
Yeah, so the last time that we spoke was approximately the 18th of May, give or take.
Okay, so it was while I was in Europe.
Yeah, so it would have been the week after you came to Belgium with me.
Okay, so I guess I would have been in Italy during the last recording.
Probably. Were you even here for the last recording? I genuinely
No,
can't
because I
remember.
didn't bring my laptop with me to
No,
Europe.
you didn't. So yeah, the last time we actually spoke was when we were in Antwerp.
Okay, so yeah, I kept going through Europe.
Is it still there?
Currently,
Europe is still there. Yeah, Michael can verify.
as of the time of recording, yes. I'm not sure given the state of French politics as of yesterday, but
Oh yeah, and then in Nepal they had a big riot and their prime minister resigned. It's just instability everywhere right now, and Qatar got bombed. So anyway, so my travels, I was in Sardinia for a week, and I had a 1 day layover in Milan, and I can't remember if you guys knew about this, but in Milan, the hotel I stayed in was about 50 kilometers outside of the Milan city center.
that is very, very classic Saunders.
Yeah, which I normally don't do, but it was because in that case I had no choice but to take the early morning flight. And with the shuttle and stuff, I didn't want to be up ridiculously early to get from Milan city center to the Malpensa airport, which is like where the discount airlines fly out of. So I walked from the airport to my hotel, and which took me through the woods. I walked through the forest for about an hour and a half to 2 hours, and on the other side of the forest led to the street that connected to where my hotel was. So there were farms and I was about to say a horse, and and I had to avoid being on private property and all. So yeah, so if somebody asked me, "Oh, what's the first bit of sightseeing you did in Milan?" It was, "Oh, I hiked through the woods for nearly 2 hours." Isn't that what everybody does in Milan?
I thought they were going to ask you what's Bigfoot in Italian.
And let me be the first to say, Saunders, what the fuck?
Yeah. So it was luckily it was luckily I wasn't dragging a suitcase with me. I just had my backpack. Otherwise, that would have been ridiculous. And then and then I had to go through Milan because the following day I flew to Moldova. And Moldova's airport in Chisinau is very small. It only has 9 gates, and they don't even you can to get to the plane for each of the 9 gates. You have to get on a bus, and the bus takes you to the plane. That's just how small the airport is. So I spent 3 days in Moldova and went to Transnistria, which is the last remnants of the former Soviet Union. So that was pretty much the coolest day trip I think I've ever done, or one of.
Did you have to walk through the forest there?
No, I did not go through any forests in Moldova or Transnistria. No forest. It was all cityscape.
Now the horses came to him. He didn't have to go cruising.
And then then I was in Norway and I met up with Sven Derek, friend of the podcast. So I met up with him when I was in Bergen. That day was interesting. That was when I got put up in the storage room in the hostel, and then I ended up getting a discounted stay once the manager of the hostel found out that the receptionist had put me in the storage room. And then I spent a couple days in Iceland, and yes, I did see some Icelandic horses. And then I came home.
Did you see a lady shopping in a field?
No, I trust me. I had I was on the lookout for the shopping bag lady, but no, she was not there.
So you met with a friend of the podcast. You saw the dick of another friend of the podcast.
Yeah, I did go to the Penis Museum in Reykjavik.
Yeah, because I think me and Bindles, This might have been when we recorded the reunion. We knew that you were going to the Phallological Museum, and Matt Barr does have an exhibit there, we're led to believe.
Yep. It was an uninhibited exhibit.
I think the word is uncut.
And I have also been meeting friends of the podcast because a couple of weeks ago, as of the time of this recording, the new series of 007 Road to a Million premiered, and I was lucky enough to be invited, having known that Alex and Rob were going to be on it for about a year. I was lucky to be invited to the premiere event. I am slightly miffed that he did break the one rule I told him, which is don't tell Logan, because I want to tell him on Historians. He did immediately send you a message, and I believe some pictures. It was a lot of fun.
I didn't get a message and some pictures.
You didn't, because you don't have a connection to Alex, but I know he was messaging Michelle as well, just because he was really excited, obviously, and understandably. I don't know if you guys know how he did, but he didn't do badly.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I did say to him, please don't tell Logan, because I want to tell him on Historians, and he did anyway. So I told you you'd get a shout out, but I didn't tell you were going to get some grief off me as well for that.
Well, I didn't do anything like related to 007 or any friends of the podcast, but I did kind of do something related to WIDM, because I went to exotic Adelaide, and like it's a nice city. I don't know why they spent as much time there as they did. You know, it's the sort of place you can do maybe an episode or two.
Did you go to its major landmarks, all of the subways?
No.
From Amazing Race Australia?
No. The subways were Brisbane, Michael.
Yeah, it's all the same place. It's far away and no one gives a shit.
I just decided to walk around the city one day. I ended up going to all four of the public squares from that challenge where it was like one group can't turn left, one group can't turn right, and they've got to try and find the hostages. So I went to all four of the plazas and the hotel that was the finish line. Turns out the art school from the weird, make the artwork and try and fool somebody challenge is at one of the plazas. So I managed to see two of them at the same time. I was staying just sort of down the road from Rundle Mall, which was where they did the briefcase exchange challenge with the guy. With that, they annoyed the shit out of that guy, and the fountain where they all decided to yell at Mark Marie afterwards is basically right outside that building where the cafe was, and it is very surprising how they managed to do that without anybody sort of spoiling it, because that is a very, very busy area. So I don't know how we just never found out there was a TV show filming there that day. So I basically did everything I could do in Adelaide. I couldn't do the Dutch Community Centre because that's closed down. That's now some sort of conference thing.
Not enough Dutch people.
Well, I think all the sort of the Dutch people it was built for have sort of aged out of life, and the young people have Facebook and that now, so they don't really need it as much. So I couldn't really do Kangaroo Island because it's 2 hours on the bus down the coast and then a ferry, and then you're basically in the middle of nowhere. I looked at doing a day trip down there, and I'm like, I'm not spending 18 hours on a bus with idiots and having to pay $600 to do it.
Wowzers.
Yeah, I know.
That's a lot of money.
And I just decided to walk along the coast one day because I was decided to get and see something that wasn't middle of the city, and it said it was about 4Ks, which is doable. And I sort of figured, well, I did one in Sydney that was a little bit longer. That took about 2 hours, so I thought I'll allow 2 hours for it. Thinking, well, it's going to be like a little bit more uneven because it's not like the cliffs are a little bit different. Took 4.5 hours because it was very sort of unpaved, like hiking tracks, sort of up and down, like 40-meter cliffs straight up, 40-meter cliffs straight down. That was fun, and my feet were very sore by the end of it. I found the church Amazing Race Australia had its pit stop at when they were in Adelaide. Turns out the reason they used that exact church is because it's right next to a freeway, so they didn't have as much risk of people just walking past and seeing everything. I went to Harndorf, which is like the big sort of touristy like German town there, which I have no idea why it exists, but like it's basically just a small town sort of in the hills outside of Adelaide that's like very, very German. Like there's multiple pretzel shops and like German pubs that do schnitzels and all of that sort of stuff. Bought like a big, huge, like 1 kilo beer stein. And then I thought, I got back to the hotel that night and I'm like, how am I going to get this back home safely? Because like I I decided to go by bus because it was $30, and I'm like, I am not above a bargain. So went to go back, and then I'm like, well, I can't really stow it underneath the bus because it's glass; it's going to break. Can't put it on the on the overhead rail inside the bus. So I basically spent 11 hours with it sort of in my backpack on my leg, which was maybe not the most comfortable night I've ever spent on a bus.
So we started last year talking about you getting to hold the big brass mug, and
Yeah.
now we're starting this year with you holding a big glass mug for 11 hours.
Yeah.
And I wish I could say that I cannot relate to that in the slightest, but a couple of years ago at the België finale, they were handing out cocktail glasses,
Yeah.
and I did have to think, how the hell do I get this home without it smashing it all over? And the answer is putting it in one of my rucksacks, covered in all of my dirty washing.
Yeah, that's basically what I ended up doing.
On the subject of freebies from mole finales, have you still got your freebie from the België finale, Saunders?
Yes, I do.
Is it in pride of place?
It's not around it's got to be here on the desk somewhere.
So he's lost it already. How
No.
ungrateful.
I'm so glad you ended that D with esque.
What's funny is I have the other the mole pin right next to the laptop, not the passfragen.
So what we've learned already today is is that Logan puts passfragen on his dick.
I don't recall ever doing that.
I just thought I'd do a quick spot check, you know.
I think I may have. If it's not on the desk, then I think I put it with my probably where my passport is.
I am going to clip this and send it to Jill just to warn you now.
Yeah.
Oh,
At least it's not a verdoubler.
No, Matt Barr took that. So yeah, the 007 Road to a Million event, it was hosted by Radio Times. It was a lot of fun. I did get to catch up with Alex and Rob a lot, and they were very excited. A lot of the people in that cast seemed very nice. There were maybe a couple of people who I thought were slightly obnoxious. Not naming any names, you'll probably be able to guess if you watch the show. I did also spend a lot of my evening trying to weasel a job out of one of the big TV execs who I was introduced to. And we had a long conversation about the podcast, and in particular about the mole
Oh.
and how Netflix completely fucked it up.
Hmm.
So I'm continuing my quest to speak to anyone in television about why Eureka are shit at producing things.
Good.
meanwhile, The Amazing Race Australia aired last night.
Yeah. Perfect segue. And a team has finished with a 1.0 average because they got booted.
Mark and Revilson have been dethroned.
They got disqualified after winning the first leg, so they couldn't even be edited out of the first leg. How delightful.
That is the way to end with a 1.0 average. Who knew it would be done through disqualification? What is this, professional wrestling?
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, this is twice now that the 10 version of Amazing Race Australia has ended with a very low single-digit average, because there was the team who got second and then quit, and now Ant and Dan who got first and then got disqualified. It's becoming a trend.
Wasn't there that team, like the first Channel 10 season, who won like 8 out of 11 legs and then somehow ended up in 4th?
Yeah, they got completely screwed over by spontaneous. Was it U-turn? I think it was a U-turn, a must vote U-turn twist.
Yeah, it was a must vote U-turn at Final Four.
And it wasn't even shown on TV. Apparently, they voted on the plane.
Oh.
So Tom or Tyler, one of the two from that team, they posted in Michelle's Amazing Race Facebook group and said, because I think there was an argument over whether or not it was rigged. And he said, it was definitely rigged, but I will have to wait a while before I can openly talk about it. So apparently there is something that substantiates that it was rigged against them to go home.
Huh.
And the funny thing is they only lost by 1 minute. So even with production trying to rig it against them, they barely lost anyway.
Not gonna lie, it would have been hilarious if they won.
It would. And I believe you've finally been catching up on television I've been recommending, Saunders.
Yeah, I just finished season 1 of Traders Quebec a couple days ago. And I also, I think last week or a week and a half ago, I watched Survivor UK from 2023.
Ah, interesting. Did you enjoy how absolutely vicious the Quebecois reunion ended up being? Because everyone hates each other.
Yeah, Marie Josie does not like Miriam at all. And then the winners hated Etienne. They made it very clear they did not like Etienne. Funny thing is, in the reunion, Etienne said the only reason why he got voted out at Final Four was because of the clique. And they said, "Oh no, there were other reasons. Oh, one of the reasons is we liked each other more."
Yeah. They didn't want to give him any money. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And then, of course, then there's Michel, who definitely got, I think only Etienne and the professional poker player Isabel were not upset with him over saying that he had a disabled daughter when in reality she does marathons and CrossFit.
I remember when I watched that episode where he reveals that he doesn't have a disabled daughter and he's using it as a lie. I had to pause the episode and start laughing my head off because it's just so unnecessary.
Yeah, that's the best word to describe it. And the way he was defending it too, where he said, well, it's because I was a former federal agent, okay, Philip Shepard. And then everyone else immediately interrupted him and said, it has nothing to do with your occupation. That did not affect anything whatsoever. You lied about having a disabled daughter. That's why they all hate you.
And since we podcasted last on a Traitors note, I do have to point out India was absolutely fantastic. And Ireland is currently 5 episodes in as of the time of this recording. And oh my god, at yesterday's episode, it is probably the first time I've ever seen a group of traitors openly detest each other.
Ooh.
Like everyone hates each other in the conclave. It's ludicrous how hilarious it is. It's so awkward every conclave scene because they all hate each other.
Oh,
And
wonderful.
New Zealand is apparently being revived.
Yeah, and maybe Australia as well, but without Roger.
Well, what's the point then?
Well, yeah. Yeah, New Zealand and Australia might be a co-pro, apparently.
Yeah.
It's almost similar to how Canada and Quebec use the same location, same challenges, and film very closely together.
Yeah.
I keep meaning to catch up on Traitors. I might have to put it on my list to add to the challenge guide to actually force me to actually watch it.
Yeah, I can definitely recommend India. They were all insane. Ireland is shaping up to be very, 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 very good. And I mean, Siobhan's a great host. Siobhan is definitely at the upper tier of the second tier for me now in terms of Traitors hosts.
Oh, good.
No one's going to reach the heights of Corinne and Roger, I don't think, but Siobhan's very close to breaking into that tier.
Oh, wow.
Is she better than Alan?
Yes. Bo Ryan is a better host than Alan Culling.
A kick in the balls is better than Alan.
And the final thing that I kind of teased you guys with needing to talk about is the fact that since the last time we podcasted, I went to New York, piggybacking off my brother again, and I was walking around. It was the hottest it had been in New York since 2013 when I was there last.
Yeah.
And it was like 35, 40 degrees every day. It was pretty unbearable.
Yeah. Stop bragging that you make places hotter.
Yeah, I do, obviously. I bring the heat. But I was wandering around one of the days, and I was walking down the street and looking at the signs, and I saw like this 9/11 memorial as you do in New York, especially this time of year. And I ended up messaging one of my friends who's got another reality TV podcast because they talk about sort of murder mystery shows. I'm like, I saw this and thought of you, and I took a picture of it for him and sent it him because I accidentally stumbled upon the firehouse of the winner of Murder in Small Town X.
Oh.
And weirdly, we were talking about Murder in Small Town X last night, amongst other random reality shows.
Yeah, that's the firehouse of Angel Juarez Jr.
That's the one. He died, I believe, a week before the finale aired. And yes, I did accidentally stumble upon his firehouse because I was staying incredibly close to it, apparently. And there is still a memorial to all the personnel from that firehouse who died in 9/11. I walked past it and I did a double take. I'm like, holy shit! I didn't actually expect to stumble upon that. And one final thing that I do have to ask Saunders: is it true that Vernon is the filming location for the sequel to Footloose?
I hadn't heard anything about that. Is there a joke here?
Because I heard that it's MMA themed. They've banned MMA, haven't they?
They unbanned it.
Have they unbanned it now?
Because they unbanned MMA last year, and I was away that weekend because they do one event per year now. But I went to the one back in July because a friend I graduated high school with was competing. And that was when there was a guy sitting in the row in front of me who already somehow had like 20 beers before the prelims had even started. And this was of course, because it's Vernon, this event took place at the curling club, and he spilled his beer on the cement, and he proceeded to get on all fours and slurped the spilled beer off the cement, which was one of the grossest things I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. It's not like the first time that someone's been on all fours drinking beer off the street in Vernon.
Well, it's very difficult for the average person in Vernon because I believe the average age of Vernon is legally dead.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They can get down, but they cannot get back up again.
Yeah.
I think isn't that lyrics to a song by Five?
That's everybody get up singing 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 will make you get down.
Jesus.
Have 5 reached Canada then? Because that is like peak Canada right now. Is
Yeah,
sort of late 90s, early 2000s.
I think they're still waiting for Chumbawamba.
Yeah, hate to break it to you, Saunders. Cha-cha slide's going to be huge soon.
Yeah, in fact, MMA is no longer going to be a thing, and by next year, everyone's going to take up playing basketball because they want to slam dunk the funk.
And also because Air Bud is going to be next year's biggest movie in Canada. Ain't nothing in the rules that says a Canadian can't play basketball.
It's like The Simpsons. Oh, you should be a center.
Don't worry. In 3 or 4 more years, Vancouver's going to get the Vancouver Winter Olympics, and then we're just going to...
Spoilers for you, Saunders. There's going to be a Canadian icon called John Montgomery. He's going to walk the streets of Whistler chugging a beer.
I don't know. I think that already happened. I believe next time it'll be a guy named Ron Montgomery.
Oh, God.
Iceland and Spain. How about that? After 33 minutes.
Yeah. First question for you, Bindles. Why did we pick this season?
Well, I figured, number one, it's a decent enough season, despite this premiere, that really sort of doesn't get a lot of credit. Mostly because, it's definitely a step down from Japan and El Salvador, Nicaragua, but also because like half of these challenges end up being stolen by Australia 6 and ruined. So I think sort of between those two things, this season is sort of very underrated. So I kind of wanted to give it, a little bit more credit. But also, Saunders was pretty quickly running out of seasons we could get a first watch reaction for. And there's 1 or 2 moments in this one where I just really wanted to hear him react to what happens. And I think if you've seen this, you know the moments.
Yeah, it's also an interesting season historically because, as we've alluded to in previous podcasts, this season was very much affected by the Arab Spring. It was meant to be Morocco and Spain rather than Iceland and Spain. Iceland was a very last-minute choice. It's the first of kind of an every other season being derailed by world politics of some description kind of season. This one starts it off, and then on top of that, the fact of the matter is Iceland is an incredibly expensive country. It's a miracle that they actually went there and could afford to go there, given certainly the budgets that we've seen in more recent WIDM seasons.
Yeah.
So it's not surprising that production was probably celebrating that at the end of the episode they're at minus 500 euros.
Yeah, but this is also the peak era of, as you alluded to, all of the subs starting and being a thing, and it being a thing that there are people who do English language subtitles for WIDM, and then off the back of that, Australia 6 starts stealing all of the challenges from all of the subtitled seasons.
Yeah, I think from memory, this was the first season where like the subtitles being live was really a thing, because like they did the subtitles live for El Salvador, but like nobody knew about it. It wasn't until a couple of months later where anyone noticed that they were being uploaded, and then that took off. And then Iceland and Spain was a couple of months after that. So this is really the first subtitled season, I guess.
Yeah,
which sort of puts it in an interesting place historically.
Yeah. The big question is, of course, how could Fuzzy have known and been wrong about this.
Well, did you have any hints?
I've not had any hints yet. The big hint is your one, but I don't know whether you want to say it on the podcast or whether you want to actually tell her before.
No, I'll say it on the podcast. So Fuzzy was doing bingo for Northern Ireland Jordan, like always. But like every week, like because I use the same pictures for like every square, so like all of the green squares are one picture, all of the red squares are a different picture. But like every week, one of the squares was very, very slightly different. So if you number the squares sort of like left to right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 along the top, and all the way down. Square number 12 every week was very slightly different. There were things like the frame was sort of moved a little bit to the left, or it's sort of zoomed out a little bit, or whatever. Every single week that she bothered to submit a board, that picture was slightly different. They started off very, very like tiny little differences that like if you're not opening up the image sort of full size, you're not going to notice it. But then sort of by the time we get to the Petra week, I picked an image of Petra with like the camels in it, and then the camels in all the other pictures, it's a little bit further up in the image. But then for that week, sort of they zoomed out a little bit, so the camels are basically sort of underlining the bottom of the picture, and it's some of them are a little obviously not easy to see if you're not looking for them. But it's there. I think 7-8 weeks she ended up actually submitting a board for, because she just forgot we were on the first 2 weeks, and maybe if she'd noticed, she would have got more hints. But yeah, like we didn't really stick a lot of clues in, but you could have known.
Yeah, because this was, as I said at the start, a very last minute shit. We're going to have to do this a lot earlier than we were planning.
Yeah.
Decision. As much as we have been teasing, going, oh yeah, you should have known. There's loads of clues. Like we didn't have a lot of wiggle room on this.
No, and like if like our schedule had been like normal, we probably would have stuck some clues in Renaissamce and wherever next year in Belgium are going. But we didn't have that, so really the only place we could have stuck clues was the bingo board. And you got a clue every week you actually bothered to do one. It's just you didn't notice.
Yep. So we begin the episode being introduced to the rugged coastlines of Iceland. And if that sounds familiar to the introduction to my last Historians premiere, it is exactly the same, because it was the rugged coastlines of Northern Ireland last time, and a plane wreckage on the coast.
I don't pay attention to you enough to care.
We see that a 3-hour timer has begun to count down. Art drops someone off, and they open an envelope with pictures to lead to the plane, and the timer visibly drops by 1 hour.
What is this, unanimous?
No one remembers Unanimous anymore apart from me. The UK one was really good.
The US one was not.
Yeah, the US one was shit. The UK one was actually really good in the end.
Interesting.
More 4x4s drop people off, and they are told for €2,500 to make sure that they are on time. And something very interesting about this premiere is nobody speaks for nearly 4 minutes of it.
Yeah, it's a very. I was surprised with how much they dragged out that intro.
Yeah.
And at first, when the first person stepped out of the car, I'm like, oh, that's the shopping bag lady from Amazing Race 6. And then everyone is getting out of the car in the middle of nowhere. I was thinking, well, did everyone go shopping at once?
It's 3 minutes and 44 seconds until the first person speaks. Art then introduces the season, saying that the tradition begins with new faces in Europe's most remote location, Iceland. It is a place where volcanoes can stop the world and where money can disappear into thin air. This also would have been filmed just after the European airspace being shut down, wasn't it? Thinking about it historically, I think that might have been 2011.
Yeah, it would have been 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. It's just a miracle that Eyjafjallajökull was behaving.
Yeah, I was going to say, you'll notice that I am talking about it in vague terms, so I don't have to say the volcano name.
The volcano?
It's that horrible Icelandic volcano that shut down airspace. That's what it's called.
What, Eyjafjallajökull?
Yeah. I knew you'd do it. So the first ones to meet up are Anna-Marie and William. She is a 35-year-old actress and singer, and she says she has the character traits of a sociable person, but she can be traitorous. And she's probably about 10 years too early to talk about the traitors. And the episode title is The First 2 Hours as well, I forgot to mention that. And he chases after her, thinking she's going to steal his €2,500, because he's obviously never seen this show before, if he thinks they're going to give away €25,000 in the first challenge.
Yeah.
In Iceland.
It's nice how in the opening credits we get to see Marion walk past a mega ball.
I must admit, like, I know we were watching these in slightly potato quality. I got so confused between Marion and Merritt in this.
Oh, so did I.
I had with what's her name? Heidwich?
Hardwick.
Hate Watch.
Hate Watch?
Hardwick, yeah.
Hadwick? Okay.
Hardwick, yeah.
Oh, Hadwick. Okay. So after going through the first, first 20 minutes of the episode, I had to watch Hadwick's, Merritt's, and Marion's opening confessional for each of the three of them 3 times apiece. So I was confident enough to know who was who.
Right, it really does not help when I was doing the cast photos, because I had to obviously go on the Internet Archive and find them. Marion and Merritt are next to each other anyway. Marion's photo changes so she looks like Merritt in one of the pages, and it's like, you're just making this super difficult. It took me probably an hour and a half to watch this episode, because I was just trying to make sure that I didn't fuck up any of the names.
Why are there so many blonde-haired white women on this season?
Well, it also does not help that they're all covered up because it's Iceland and it's freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really see. All I could tell after the first 2 times was, Hadwick has a really long, almost like a pigtail, and that's about as far as I got with distinguishing the 3 of them.
Yeah.
I had to go off who was wearing what coat. That was the way to do it.
And really, the only reason you're not adding Anna Marie to that list as well is because she's got the clown lipstick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking, whoa, that was a lot of lipstick.
So William's a 28-year-old singer, dancer, and actor. He seems to have accepted an award dressed as Bert from Mary Poppins. He thinks he can tell when people are being sincere or not as an actor, and he's obsessed with the idea of Anna Marie taking something from a pole.
Which is also funny because he references playing Ramses in a show called Ramses.
You can tell I'm sort of used to these celebrities having weird credits to their names, because I went looking for these people to try and find something for to follow up on Who's the Sneaky Belgian. And one of William's credits was he was the Dutch voice of Ken in Toy Story 3. And because I'm so used to, them having weirdly slightly different character names in all of these films, and I'm like, which one was Ken? And then I realized it was Barbie and Ken.
Yeah, it's just Ken.
Yeah, it turns out he is Knuff.
There is a brilliant one that I've found coming up, and I'm hoping you've not spotted it, Bindles, because I think you're going to go, what? But yeah, there's a brilliant one I've spotted.
Okay.
Lisbeth starts walking. She's a journalist and TV presenter. Marion is next to be introduced. She's a 37-year-old writer. She wants her contact lenses back and leaves her suitcase in the middle of nowhere. She says she's written 6 books and won the Golden Noose, and is very impulsive and emotional, but also analytical and rational.
I like how Marion's written books with the molliest titles ever. The Golden Noose and The Child of a Sinner.
Well, the Golden Noose is an award in the Netherlands for the best Dutch language crime novel of the year, by the sound of things.
Yeah.
The UK one is the Golden Dagger, I believe.
So, which country has the Golden Candlestick? Which country has the Golden Lead Piping?
I think Canada's is the Golden Beaver.
I'm pretty sure that's one of your collections, Saunders.
That's the new dating show on CBC next summer.
Well, we don't have Kim's Convenience Store. We don't have Schitt's Creek. What other ideas do we got?
Will you accept my wood, eh?
Was that a Toy Story reference?
No, it was a beaver reference.
Trust you to not get the beaver reference, Saunders.
Even I got the beaver joke.
Yeah. Fritz has no clue. He's an ex-politician, but now runs his own marketing company. He's built a career in the gay circus, he says. He says he's like a crab, sweet to those around him, but will snap when he gets crabby.
I can't believe he said that. I'm like a crab.
I get crabby.
Just going back to William for a bit, I love that he looks like a 40-year-old trying to fit in with the young people, despite being, at time of recording, 28 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably only just turned 40.
Yeah.
He all he needs is a skateboard and quote Steve Buscemi in a hallway.
I haven't checked, but I feel like this is like a very deceptively young cast.
Yeah, not everyone says their age. I was going to do the
Yeah.
average age, but not everyone says it, and I genuinely cannot remember the boot order of this season, so I don't want to spoil it for myself. I know who the final three are. I know who the mole is. I think I remember who gets fourth, but I can't remember the order of the rest of the people.
Oh, I because I didn't want to humiliate myself once again. I did go on the Renaissance page to look at all the contestants to make sure that I didn't accidentally put somebody who was in Renaissance as one of my top suspects.
Well, this is what Bindles means about it being a forgotten season. Nobody from this season returns for Renaissance. Maybe they did for Renaissamce, because obviously that'll have come out by the time that this releases.
No, I don't think even the mole comes back for Renaissance.
No, they don't. They reappear in another challenge.
Dominican Republic.
Yeah. But I think that's their only appearance in future.
Yeah.
Next to join us is Hate Watch, as we're going to call her, because that's what Bindles autocorrect changed it to. She's 34, an actress and singer and bass player. Tim says he's a stand-up and cabaret performer. He's fickle, not fanatical for long. He doesn't even look at the photo and didn't think that it would be a clue. And he only realizes when he meets up with Marriott.
I'm guessing he may or may not go home in episode 3. How does he I can't believe he just discarded that photo and said, this is the only piece of information I have about what we're potentially doing. It can't be important.
Maybe it's just a nice postcard.
Yeah, they wanted to give us a souvenir. I mean, we did have William think that Anna Marie was going to steal 2,500 euros from him, so...
I love that they give them no information at all about this challenge. And it's not really clear what the photos have to do with anything. And yet this is still clearer than half of the challenges from Mexico last year.
Marriott has hosted Camping Life for a few years and now hosts a quiz for disabled children. We're not touching that one with a barge pole. William also finds the wreckage, and him and Anna Marie figure out they have to get everyone there in time. And he goes to try and round people up, and she says she'll call with her sweet voice from the hillside, but her sweet voice does not carry far enough, and nobody hears her.
Which is weird, because usually that's the perfect environment for like that sort of thing, because there's no water around. Like usually when you do that sort of thing in the middle of nowhere, it's like the water that stops people from hearing it, because if you do it near a waterfall, like the water basically covers the noise. But like they're in the middle of nowhere with nothing going on. They should have heard that.
Except for maybe Elizabeth, who was on the beach uncovering animal bones.
Yeah.
And bottles, don't forget the bottles.
Yeah.
My only note for this section of the challenge is Fritz finds the plane, Lisbeth finds a fossil, Martin finds some screen time. I don't want to say this is one of the worst challenges ever, but it's certainly one of the least interesting.
Yeah, it's a challenge that we have nothing to talk about.
Yeah.
I was amused that they did have to drag the suitcases through the landscape.
Yeah.
And Hadwick singing The Sound of Music right before tumbling down the side of the hill.
Well, the hills are alive and they heard her, so they were just giving her a bow.
The next person to be introduced is Dio. He's a rapper and says we might know him from Dumb, Blunt and Famous, which are 3 words to describe the 3 of us.
I do not know Dio from that.
I'm blunt. Which one of you is dumb and which one of you is famous?
I mean, technically I'm famous.
And we've established.
I mean, I'm happy to take the famous title because it means that Saunders is dumb. But Saunders kind of has an argument for famous, given that he is mayor of Vernon or whatever it is at this point, given how much Vernon newspaper likes to talk about him.
Yeah, all you have to do is go to 230 restaurants within town and you become kind of a big deal.
I'll lay claim to the famous title, given that tomorrow is 7 years since my episode of The Chase aired, and 7 years since the last time I got meaningful time on television.
Meaningful.
Well, I was the star for 10 minutes, which is all that matters.
Debatable.
Martin is next. He used to be a gold medal swimmer and won the 2008 gold medal for the open water swim, beating Great Britain, because I looked him up. He's also 6'8".
You know you're tall when you're like in a cast of Dutch people and you make them all look like little people.
Well, I love how he's the next step on the archetype of former professional athlete, but he's the exact opposite of Taka Takuma, because not only does he play a real sport, but also he's like twice Taka Takuma's height.
Also, he can form full sentences.
Well, yeah, that as well.
Correct subject-verb agreement.
Me, Martin. Swim good.
I do like Martin though.
Yeah, I like Martin as well.
It's kind of surprising. I think up until this point they'd only ever had one athlete.
Hmm.
I think up to this point they basically had, I think it was like a coach of the Dutch national soccer team in Thailand, but like Martin's really the first like proper athlete. And then there's basically nothing the next few years until we get Taka Takuma, and they couldn't be more different than the two of them.
No, because one's 6'8" and one's like 3'4".
Yeah,
One can form full sentences and
yeah.
one's Taka.
It's very much like a Ken and Gerard sort of situation. It's Ken and Giraffe.
Now that'd be if William was the tall one. And the time runs out and Art appears. Only 5 of them made it to the plane, and that means that they earn nothing of €2,500 to begin the season. And they are also confused by the fact that he said their 3 hours were up, not their 2 hours, and it felt much shorter.
You know, the cast isn't going to win much money if none of them could differentiate between 90 minutes and 3 hours.
Yeah, like as much as I don't particularly like the challenge anyway, because it's not like it's basically just walk over there for all of them, and it's really coincidence that any of them actually run into each other at any point. Like it really feels bad to see a challenge where nobody was able to stop them all doing the thing that they had production interference for, when everybody like instantly knows afterwards exactly what the mole did in the challenge.
Yeah.
Like at least with something like the rock climbing in Dominican Republic, it was still a surprise at the reunion when we find out that Class, had the hidden key that he could use to steal the money. But here, where, we know what happened, like, it's pretty obvious the mole fiddled with the clock.
Yeah, and also we saw it to begin the episode.
Yeah,
like production do not hide this sabotage from anyone.
Yeah, like they don't hide the sabotage. Nobody can stop it because it's right at the start of the challenge. It's like the clock changes 3-4 minutes in, something like that. Like there's no way anything can change, so it doesn't feel earned. Like when Australia 6 did this challenge, it was A, baffling that they did it to start with, and B, that they managed to stretch it out for 45 minutes or whatever it ended up being.
Of airtime?
Yeah. Like they started with 12 players and they split them into sort of 3 groups. So instead of 10 people just going individually, it was 3 groups walking across some sand dunes. And the groups were told, here's a flagpole, go in this direction. I think their hike ended up being like 5Ks or something. But they at least gave them sort of an offer halfway through where it was like, okay, if you don't think you're going to get there in time, you can open up the envelope for an advantage to make sure you get there, but then you won't win your share of the money. So it was like five grand for each group that gets to the flagpole within the 2 hours, whatever it was. But then, if you open up your little envelope for the advantage, they send out a rescue car that'll take you straight there. But your group doesn't get any money. So if like you all get there, but like one group opens the thing, you get 10,000 instead of 15,000, which I think was a more interesting way of doing it. But holy shit, it did not need 45 minutes. I mean, this challenge here struggled to fill 15, 20, whatever it ended up being.
Yeah. It was about 22 minutes, I think, in the end.
I feel like we're going to have to ban Fuzzy from putting Bindles bitches about how Australia 6 fucked up these challenges on the bingo board.
Yeah. Can I also just set the ground rule? This is the closest to Australia 6 historians you're ever going to get from us, unless you pay us money.
Yeah.
Like, if you throw money at the Patreon, we'll do Australia 6, because we haven't decided what the second one of 2026 is going to be yet. I am willing to put it out there now. Throw money at our Patreon, we might do Australia 6 for you. Don't throw money at Patreon, we won't.
Just don't put it on top of a poll, otherwise William might take it.
No, and also Bindles wouldn't be able to reach it.
That's okay. I'll just have to climb on Martin.
So I don't know about you guys, but this next challenge I think really sucked.
Yeah, because they they don't even tell us who the pairs are.
Yes, exactly. Before it would be usually the complaints are we don't even know how much the challenge is worth, or we don't get all of the exact technical rules to a challenge. Those are usually challenge complaints. But I think this is the first time of we don't even know who the five pairings are. We only know two out of the five, I think.
Yeah. Normally we would go into a historians being like, yeah, this season's great, woo! We're gonna defend it to the hilt. I'm not defending this episode. The last challenge is pretty good. The first two are not.
Yeah, like this is maybe the worst premiere ever. Like at least Northern Ireland, we had some fun in the warehouse. You know, at least Colombia, we get the good dancing challenge and whatever was going on with the cycling. Like even the bad premieres usually have one good challenge. This one sort of has two really bad challenges and one that's mostly fine because they don't really play the challenge the way it's supposed to be played.
It's pure comedy.
Yeah, like imagine like how bad this episode would have been if they'd just played the paintball challenge as actual paintball.
In its defense, what I will say is it's very refreshing, based off the back of the normal VIDM we're used to have a three challenge premiere and
Yes.
them all actually be, decently long challenges. They might not be interesting, but at least they're decently long, and we kind of get the nuance eventually on the challenges.
Yeah, we have a Nickelback photograph challenge as the opener, and then I don't know what they were thinking with this glacier challenge. We don't know the pairings. The containers, I would say, are given how close the containers are together. I don't know how anybody would know which container to grab with the money in it,
Yeah.
because how do you differentiate it across that big of a landscape too on the glacier when they
Hmm.
put the containers so close together?
I think the trick that they didn't spot here was bringing the compass to the containers. If you bring the compass to the containers and use the original point as the reference, then you'll pick which one the right one is. I think is actually the move here.
But it would
Yeah.
still be really difficult to execute, though, I
Oh
think, as
yeah,
Yeah.
a
yeah,
contestant.
yeah. It's difficult, but that's the way to win this challenge, rather
Yeah.
than whatever they actually ended up doing here, which
Yeah.
was
Which was,
a mess.
Yeah. I also think with only one compass there, if you do that, then you're going to end up with like six people knowing about the exemptions, which kind of ruins the next challenge.
You are, but they wanted to guarantee that someone won the exemptions, didn't they?
Yeah.
I would be kind of interested to find out what would have happened if nobody had won the exemptions.
I would have assumed they'd just do something like pick three people who want a chance or at an exemption or something.
Yeah.
oh, that would be, yeah, I guess that would be a very easy backup solution.
Yeah. But also, we don't find out like any time limit for the glacier challenge, which makes me think the first round was going to continue until they found all five sets of tubes, and like the exemption tokens were probably close enough to one of them that they were guaranteed to be found.
It is funny that the guy who didn't even think to look at the photograph in the opening challenge is the one who was able to spot the exemptions. Maybe Tim decided, hey, I need to be more alert in this game from now on and have my eyes just a little bit more peeled.
Yeah,
Before any of the glacier challenge as well, Art officially welcomes them to Iceland and says naturally here there are no moles, but one of them is the first mole in Iceland. He also tells them to make friends because in episode 4 there will be tough negotiations about their future, and that future might just turn out to be bright and sunny. I have to point that out because episode 4 is amazing.
I assume that's when they go to Spain
Uh,
because of this bright and sunny wordplay.
the bright and sunny wordplay I think is referring to Spain. Episode 4 not necessarily.
yeah,
So they are in their pairs separated on the glacier, and half of them can pick up the money, but the other half are the ones drawing the map to the money. Only the ones using the maps can collect the cash, and the ones not using the maps have to draw the maps by using references and distances and all the other interesting things that we really can talk about in an audio medium.
Dio apparently quoted Borat at the start of the challenge, where he said, so we went to this glacier. Fun. Not. And that was really the only interesting note I had until Hadwick decides, hey, let's just grab all 5 containers from the same spot and call it a day.
Well, I like I was saying about how they don't really reveal the time limit. I think it's kind of implied that the second round only ends when they have 5 canisters, whether they're from the same
Yeah.
place or not. Because otherwise, it doesn't make any sense for them to like take one of each. But I think on its own, this is an okay challenge to be doing at a glacier. I think it's a really terrible idea to do this directly after the first challenge. So it's basically 2 challenges in a row of people just sort of walking aimlessly in a desolate landscape.
Would they have done this with a sand dune in Morocco?
Yeah.
Yeah, or was this a replacement challenge?
I think this would be very applicable to a sand dune.
Yeah. I think you could probably do this in Morocco more than you could do the opening challenge. I think the opening challenge sort of relies on there being a landmark in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Where this one you can do sand dunes, you could do, an oasis, you could do it like even in a market or something. You could do this challenge just about anywhere. The glacier is nice, but it's not essential to the challenge. Where I think the first challenge is a challenge that the way it was designed could only be done at that exact landmark in Iceland. It just wasn't interesting.
If this was in Morocco, they probably would have done this challenge near an oasis.
Yeah. I wonder if they would have considered going to that oasis they used in Marrakesh in Amazing Race 3. Because I feel like that probably would have been where they ended up if they were going to do Morocco.
In the Morocco version of this challenge, if you just listen on the wind, you can just faintly hear Wonderwall. Like it's every single bar in Europe that Logan goes to.
Did everyone catch on to my earlier oasis pun?
Yes, we just ignored it.
Probably Michael caught it.
Yeah.
So, back to this terrible challenge.
Do we have to?
Yeah, anything you want to say?
Tim has rice jellings.
Yeah. Fritz finds them because Anna Maria couldn't find that bit of the glacier and tells Tim where to find them. And that's literally the only thing that gets picked up apart from minus €500 in this challenge.
Yeah, Mr. I didn't think to look at the picture suddenly has the most power in this season.
I think the only really interesting thing in this challenge is Martin sort of comes up with the brilliant idea to sort of just stretch his arm and just be like, which part of me is it pointing to? And then sort of just immediately gives up when the response is, well, it's pointing at you, so...
Martin is sneaky funny in this episode because we go straight on to him being elected as treasurer because he works in finance and has a degree in mathematics, and him trying to big brain this show by going, well, in previous seasons, the mole has ripped up money and it's come out of the pot. Why don't we do that with the minus money we've been given? Let's rip it up. And then immediately you cut to the results of the third challenge, and it says, pot, minus €500.
Genuinely, I love Martin.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of forgotten a lot of this season, but Martin is hilarious.
Martin's Wikipedia is also very interesting because obviously gold medalist in Beijing had previously had some sort of cancer. Wikipedia doesn't tell me what, so he was incredibly bald for the Beijing Olympics. Does a lot of work for cancer research and a lot of ridiculous swims for cancer research. But one in particular is he decided to set the world record for swimming the Iceland,
Oh.
which, if you're aware of it, is a bloody long ice skating track. Hundreds and hundreds of kilometers long. Actually, no, I'm thinking he did swim the Iceland, but the one I'm thinking of is in 2018, he started an attempt to swim the entire track of the Elstenktocht, a famous 200-kilometer outdoor ice skating race in the north of the Netherlands. He invited people to come along with him and try it, but the insurers told him he wasn't allowed to do that because of the risk of E. coli.
Oh. Leukemia, apparently.
Ah, leukemia. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. He had to give up on his first attempt, but he did eventually do it the year after, by the sound of things.
I guess if you've gone through leukemia, E. coli doesn't seem like much of an opponent.
And within 3 months of him doing this charity event, he'd raised €6.1 million for cancer charities.
Oh, wow.
He has also unsuccessfully stood for the Dutch Parliament 3 times, for the same party as Fritz.
I mean, spoilers. One of these people is more likely to get me to vote for them than the other. Like, I like Fritz, but I don't think I would vote for him.
Whereas Martin could ask you to do anything and you would say yes.
Well, almost anything.
So, at their accommodation, Fritz takes the first exemption, Tim takes the second one, and they then have to decide between them who's going to take the third. And Art tells us that yesterday was a good day for them all, as nothing was earned. 3 candidates are excited about their exemptions, but nothing is what it seems, and those exemptions need to be defended.
Bring your shield.
He asks the 3 with an exemption to step forward, and Fritz, Tim, and Merritt break ranks. Art reveals that the others will be trying to take those exemptions off them because they are worth money for the pot. I can see a lot of Australia 6 in this challenge.
Yeah.
Did they ever? They revealed the €1,000 bounty for Tim and the €1,500 bounty for Fritz. Did they ever reveal the bounty on Merit, or do we just
500.
assume it's 500?
Yeah,
No, they did say
revealed it.
500.
They did say 500.
In the deliberations between the group, they said that they were going to put the least people on Marriott because she's worth €500.
And then to go back to the container challenge too, in terms of money amounts, they kept bringing up the money values for it at very random times throughout the challenge. That was the other annoying thing about it.
I did quite like in the Glacier Challenge that they had so much ice water in the containers that they started joking about ice water being very expensive.
I think they're thinking of Norway.
Yeah. So all they have to do to defend the exemptions is to reach the end of a bridge without being shot, and they will earn €500 if they shoot Merritt, 1,000 for Tim, and 1,500 for Fritz, and they will win it by either shooting the holder or reaching the exemption before they do.
It's a 7 versus 3 Mario Party minigame.
Yeah. Merritt walks forward with her hands up as she doesn't want to take part in any sort of shooting challenge. She would not fit in modern day WIDM with the laser game exclamation point. This is paintball game exclamation point.
Can you imagine if it was Emanuela? Stop shooting Merritt! Stop shooting Merritt!
Emanuela would have had less mercy for her than Fritz did in the final round.
But it was like something out of the movie with how dramatic it was with her walking with her hands up, just slowly walking forward as if she was making some sort of dramatic peace initiative.
The thing about this challenge is it's obviously the best one of the 3,
Yeah.
but I have a fundamental problem with it in that because it's over a river, the audio quality is shocking on so much of this challenge.
Yeah.
Like when they're deliberating afterwards and bitching at each other, because there's a pretty fun argument in this. You can barely tell what they're saying because of the rushing water below them.
Yeah. Well, it's like like what we were saying before about the airplane challenge. It's the water that means you can't hear anything because it just covers everything up. I was watching Australia 2 the other week, and they do one challenge where it's basically like a hostage rescue, but the hostages are just randomly left in the wilderness overnight, and they tried doing that cooey call to find them, but they do it next to a waterfall, and like even though they're maybe 100 meters away, they don't hear them. And I think it's the same situation here, where because the river is moving fast and all of that sort of stuff, cannot hear a thing. And frankly, it's amazing we got the audio as good as we did, but also this was not planned very well.
Can I just say, William and Dio are my absolute heroes because they were such terrible players in this challenge. They fucked it so bad.
It was so bizarre because you have Merritt just being unarmed and walking through with her hands up, and then Dio and William say, "Hey, let's stuff our hands in hay to find some yokers," and just let Merritt cross the finish line and claim an exemption.
They didn't think for a second that obviously they're not going to put hay bales on the bridge because they will blow off in the wind. So
Yeah.
they had to do makeshift hay bales to make it harder to shoot people through.
Yeah. And I think the funniest bit is the bridge is not wide enough, like for Marriott to sneak around them. Like it's a very small bridge, really. And I don't know how she sort of got past them without them just deciding to turn around and shoot. I don't know how any of them won this challenge, let alone all three of them. This felt like it was rigged to get the exemptions out of the game, and somehow it ended up, the way it did.
Yeah, I was blown away by what happened in each round because I thought the same thing that the exemptions were going to be eliminated. And it was a bit unclear, but was the other rule that if one of the players got to the other side before the person defending the exemption, that they would get the exemption instead?
Not that they'd get it; it'd just take it out of the game and they'd earn the
Oh,
money
okay.
instead.
Because that was kind of okay.
Yeah, so the defender has to get across to keep the exemption. The attackers can basically steal it by either shooting the defender or getting to the other end themselves.
Yeah, because that was unclear. I thought, oh, do they have to shoot to get the money, and then if they get to the other side first, they get the exemption? Because just the way the confessionals were, I got confused about halfway through. But
No, it's like hang tough from gladiators. You get the points if you get to the podium, but then the gladiator can either pull you down or stop you from getting there.
Meanwhile, Saunders is thinking, gladiators? They did that in ancient Rome?
pyro, gyro. But imagine being a producer and the other contestants watching that first round play out, saying, "Are we in Bizarro world here? What the hell is going on?" Do all three of them suddenly not understand what this challenge is?
Well, I just love Dio afterwards just being like, you just invented some new rule of the game yourself. And I'm like, who does he think he is, production?
So, yeah, inexplicably, Mara ends up keeping her exemption and costing the group €500. Next up is Marion and Hate Watch versus Tim, and he almost immediately slips, and the wind keeps blowing the paintballs out of their path, and it ends up being a sprint, and Tim wins and keeps his exemption.
I think it was a Leslie Nielsen movie because of how small this bridge is when they're shooting at each other. There's this once, I think it might have been one of the Naked Gun movies, where Leslie Nielsen gets into a shootout, but the person he's having a shootout with is just on the other side of the same barrel, and they keep missing each other for a minute straight. That's what this challenge reminded me of. It's just the wind was so ridiculous that they're so close trying to shoot at each other, but nobody can really hit.
You're our film correspondent, Saunders. Have you seen the new Naked Gun? It's supposed to be not terrible.
Not yet, but I've also my brother saw it in theaters, and he said the same thing. It was pretty good. It's not going to be memorable and amazing, but it exceeded expectations.
It's by one of the Lonely Island, and they did Pop Star Never Stop Never Stopping, which is a great film. So, I can't say I'm surprised that it's not terrible.
It's just nice to have a new film that's not a fucking Marvel thing.
On which note, Fantastic Four was pretty good. It was better than Superman. I don't think many people agree with me on that. People seem to have a bit of a love of the Superman film for some reason, but yeah, Fantastic Four was better. I saw them like consecutive weeks. So the final round is Anna-Marie, Martin, and Lisbeth versus Fritz. Their flaps keep blowing off, apparently. William, off to the side, reveals that he's a brilliant paintball player. Martin gets hit on the shoe, which, to be fair, is an unfair target given, how big his feet probably are. Lisbeth is then also shot, leaving just Anna-Marie to defend the exemption. And he keeps his exemption, meaning they earn nothing of €3,000 for the challenge and minus €500 of 8,000 for the episode and season so far.
Somehow the easiest win for the attackers in a defend the exemption challenge just completely falls apart for them. I'm amazed that in a 2 versus 1 and 3 versus 1 scenarios that they were able to do nothing in this very tiny and narrow bridge to just hit the defender once.
Yeah. I love that afterwards Art is like, well, some of you left the struggle injured mentally.
We didn't see how many times Fritz shot Anna-Marie, but...
Oh, I'm guessing it was more than one.
Oh, it was definitely more than one, because it was close to going, stop, she's already dead.
I thought that was going to happen to Merritt when she put her hands up, that it was just going to be this over-dramatic Hollywood moment of her just getting shot repeatedly by the paintballs.
Yeah. So, Art also announces that it is time for the first test and execution. 20 questions about the identity and destinies of the mole. Whoever knows least goes home except for the mole who can never go home. And as we've just seen, Fritz has an exemption for this test. Lisbeth says the execution is heavy. Whoever leaves today has bad luck because there's so little to know about each other. It's sort of a gamble. William says the question of who the mole is dangerous because he thinks he knows already. Is it stupid to go for one person straight away? The answer is yes. Anna-Marie says that William stands out most as mole because he's very fanatical. Hate Watch is also mysterious. I'm going to not be able to stop calling her Hate Watch.
I'm sorry.
Hate Watch is also nervous for the test. She's reading her mole book all the time, but remembers very little of it. Martin is always going to choose the biggest group and play the odds. Merritt says spreading is tough because you have to remember who was standing where and how many questions you answer on each person. Dio suspects Merritt and Tim because Merritt was acting strangely today. Marion's decided to hedge her bets on Tim, Lisbeth, and Fritz, but she'll probably make mistakes due to her forgetfulness. Tim doesn't know if he can trust Fritz. He promised to help on the first test, but trust no one. And Fritz is very delighted that he has an exemption for the first test.
A rare quiz confessional from the exempt player. And yeah, I can't believe William is this season's I'm going to go all in on one person from the first test contestant.
Was it just me, or do you think that William and Anne-Marie know each other?
I mean, they're both musical theatre people, so I would assume their paths are crossed at some point.
Yeah. They seemed very familiar with each other when they met up the first time.
I'm sure William spotted her lipstick from a mile away. And I may be wrong on this, but this cottage, with how cluttered the room was where they took the quiz and where the execution was, I could have sworn that's the same cottage or house that they used for all of the quizzes and executions in the Mole, New Zealand.
As if they had the budget to fly them to Iceland.
Yeah, it's just nice that, the lady let them into her house while she was out shopping in a field.
Yeah. I'll be back in 6 hours.
Make sure to wash the dishes.
Yeah, take out the garbage. I don't know when the garbage truck will get here since, there aren't any houses for about 30 kilometers.
I don't know why, I just find it hilarious that they do the setup for the test being like a big shot of like a church overlooking this tiny little town, and then all of a sudden everybody is just in this old lady's kitchen.
Yeah, and Martin does not fit, which is a brilliant visual.
My favorite thing at the start of the execution is Fritz having to sit very close to Art like it was take your daughter to work day.
Sit here, honey, I need to keep an eye on you.
Imagine if Martin ended up in that little restaurant they use for the test in Hong Kong.
Exactly, this is the sort of shit that they should have done. Missed opportunities when you have someone that tall. So, Art says that one of them will be leaving shortly, and there is no fate sadder than being the first person to leave. Iceland has around 20 hours of daylight at the moment, and that's tough for them all as they like to hunt in the dark, but they are succeeding so far. Tim, Hatewatch, and William all get green screens before Marion is the first to depart.
I thought, since William was the third screen, I thought he was going to be executed. But now, instead, he's going to be even more certain of who he thinks the mole is. Well, I put all my questions on one person, so I have to be right.
Mm.
She says she had a logical vision. The exemptions had to be found for the third challenge to happen, so she looked at who played a role in them being collected. And she thinks that may have been a big mistake in the end. You think? Next time, there are waterfalls, Art needs an answer, Martin's being difficult, Tim and Dio make a bond, and they try to make some smoke signals.
And it's a barrel of red smoke, which means they haven't picked a new mole yet.
Very true. Final 3 questions of the episode. Who do you suspect Saunders? Who's going home next? And new for this season, who's the sneaky Tasmanian?
The sneaky Tasmanian?
Yep, one of these people was born in Tasmania.
Wow. And it wasn't even near the Dutch center?
Nope.
I'm glad I remembered that correctly, because you did tell me that about a week ago.
Let's see. For my suspect list, they all played so horribly this episode. I mean, they have minus 500 euros out of possible 8,000 euros, I think we said.
Yep.
So it's not like anyone did anything well. So I have here, Lisbeth as my first suspect, Hate Watch as my second suspect, then Marion, then William, then Merritt, then Martin, then Tim, then Fritz, then Anna-Marie, then Dio. I think Dio will be gone next, and William is the sneaky Tasmanian.
Interesting.
Do we need to eulogize Marion as well? Other than, she gone? Not that you'd be able to hear it because there's a waterfall behind me.
I'm just glad that I can tell everybody apart with 100% confidence after this episode.
Yes.
Was Marion the one that had the kids' news show? or previously hosted a kids' news show.
Marion was the crime author, I think.
Oh no, the writer.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah, Marion's the one with the golden noose and ends up being the first one executed appropriately.
Oh, it's Elizabeth. Elizabeth hosted the news show for kids. I wonder if it competed with Bart's People.
Elizabeth is the journalist. Marriott is the children's TV presenter.
Oh, but Elizabeth said that she is a journalist, news reporter, and she previously hosted news shows for kids.
Yeah.
Because then Merritt was the one that's talked about being in a show called Anubis.
And Tim is the comedy partner of Ian Lubach.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Which is, you can understand how Ian got famous and Tim did not.
Yes. Anything else you want to say about this episode?
I'm good.
There were some odd decisions made for this premiere. I will say that.
Yes.
Editors could have done better too.
Yeah, like I think we've got to be like a little bit lenient because of how last minute a lot of this was. But holy shit, they did not cover themselves in glory this time.
No.
I think it was also the most desolate landscape they've ever used for a whole episode.
Yeah. And I don't want to say it gets worse, but like I don't think we get to Reykjavik until episode 3. Like there's some good stuff next week, but it's more middle of the field sort of stuff.
And on that bombshell, thank you for listening to our View Small 2012 recap. We'll be back next week to continue the hunt for the new Small in Iceland and Spain. Don't forget you can contact us on pretty much every social media platform that isn't TikTok, where we are RTV Warriors, or you can email us and contact at rtvwarriors.com. You can also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/rtvwarriors and get early access to the rest of the episodes of this season, and maybe force our hand and make us do Australia 6. Thank you to That Dark Spark for the subtitles. We'll see you next week. And I mean this with all my heart. Fuck you, Logan, and fuck you, Donna.
Oh, do I have to tell this story now, or are we signing off now?
No, we're signing off.
All right. Peace out and just chill till the next episode. I would offer you $5 to not swear at me next time.
Is that how we get the money for the Australia 6? I could make Martin fit.